Hey, this is Dave with Rough Notes Magazine. We're all about helping agents and brokers thrive, and we're impressed with what you're doing. Can we feature you and your team on our front cover?
Jack, tell me the feeling you had when you first found out that your agency was going to be on the front cover of Rough Notes magazine.
Well, that's a loaded topic right there, right? Number one, honored, extremely honored, humbled, and then I thought, really, me? I mean, I can I could hit a driver and hit probably 5 other agents around me. One of them being Christopher Cook,
The man, yeah,
he loves it when we talk about him, right?
uh-huh.
But I mean, there's so many great agents around, and again, fortunate. It's funny. This year is year number 20 for me in business. So August is 20 years. So to be, I guess, stubborn enough to stick it out for that long, and then for someone to think that I've done something right, just, overwhelmed. Yeah.
Take me to that moment. So did you get a call? Was it an email?
Yeah. So I actually played phone tag, and forgive me, I can't remember the guy's name, played phone tag a little bit with him. And he was like, hey, would you like to be on the agency of the month? And I was like, well, that's a great way to start a conversation. Like, well, heck yeah, that'd be awesome. So yeah, it was good, man. It was, again, when you sit back and you've been doing it long enough, Jason, that and it's like, you just do day to day and you do the thing. And then, you do the right things enough times, maybe someone notices, and it's an honor.
Yeah, it is an honor. And it's even a bigger honor than just like being your, your local chamber or something. Being recognized by your peers is always the best, right? Because they understand and we understand what you do. And by, like you said, doing the right thing day after day. What is that right thing? Your peers know. And when you get recognized, it's really, really cool. So good kudos to you, man. So excited about it. I've got a couple.
Thank you.
I got a couple things that I want to dig into. So, I mean, as we try to take, as I always like to say, the paper copy down to the digital stream, try to talk about a couple different things, but there were things that kind of caught my eye. First of all, for you Rough Notes listeners, I want to let you know that Jack and I know each other. He's actually been on the podcast Agency Intelligence back. Jack, I don't know. Time goes by quick. It was before COVID, right? There's the old time separator. I think it was before COVID. So it was around 2018, maybe 17, something like that. Gosh, I can't believe it's been that long. Holy moly, now that I think about that. So anyways, yeah, so we kind of know each other. And that's why whenever I found out who it was, I'm like, Dave, you guys keep picking all the right ones. Alicia Kavanaugh was the month before, Jim Schubert, the year month before that. I mean, you're in that category. And I think that's really, really cool. Now, one of the things that I just want to pick right out is your website. You are big into social media and online and all that. I want to talk about that, but I picked out a note that says you've been on your fifth iteration of your website. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So, when we started 20 years ago, one of our clients was actually a marketing firm. And so 20 years ago, right, the internet was just beginning to be a thing. And so they designed a pretty little picture of a website and put it up. And I mean, they even designed our logo, which is not that logo. It was like some little blocks. It was really weird. And it was funny. So we had it because it was a thing you needed to do. Mm-hmm. And I remember being about, 1 or 2 years into that, we got a contract with a health insurance carrier in North Carolina, one of the big blue one. Mm-hmm. And I remember having a conversation with the rep, and I was like, well, how are people selling health insurance? And he said, well, look, my top agent sits on a boat and sells more policies than anyone. He does it through his website. And I was like, get out of town.
I want that.
Get out of town. Right. So, at that point I was like, I found the guy's website, and then I started digging down. I was like, who did their website, and just went down that path and started working with a company that's actually local to North Carolina. And so we redesigned the site from just a pretty picture that was like, here's a front page and here's how to contact us. Mm-hmm. And we went into a better pretty picture. But when I started down the path, I looked at, the websites of different carriers. I looked at the websites of different agencies that I knew. And none of them did the thing that I wanted. And that was to answer the questions that people have, like, what is auto insurance? What is comprehensive insurance? Like, whatever those things are. And so I said, well, when we do this, I'm going to have the web designer do the HTML nonsense, because I'm not a designer. I don't do it. And I literally sat down and wrote content. And so it was, I mean, we were writing the content, answering the questions that people had. And now, because you know the guy, it was Marcus Sheridan's, they asked, we answered before Marcus was even a thing. And I'm not going to take credit for it. It was just funny, right? Looking back, so the number of years. So we did that, and that was a pretty, the website was nice and blue and looked good. Was writing some blog articles, and in looking at it, I think that lasted for maybe 3 or 4 years, that iteration of the site. What we found was we were showing up really well for workers' comp insurance in North Carolina. We were not showing up well for auto or home. And if you sit back and look, it's like, well, there's no way that I can compete with Geico, Progressive, those people. There's just too much. They do too. They're known for that. But we were showing up really well for workers' comp. So we were getting all of these, what we call ghost policies. And most people in the business know what that is. We were getting a lot of them. And at the time, you just do that and you cross sell and go from there. And it looked great until we decided that one day we were going to go kind of on this beard tangent. And so we went to the next iteration, and it was really just a change of brand, got to be more who we were. I mean, the other one was like a Carolina blue with some beach involved, and that's not who we were.
So let's click on that for a minute though, Jack, because you went this new brand, this beard thing, as you say. Yes. I mean, and what made you say, okay, wait a minute, as I'm looking at this, give us where your brain was at that point in time, going from where you were to this brand that you still kind of have now.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. So, realistically, it was happenstance, right? The best things in life are never really by design. It's just sort of they happen.
True.
The Lord puts us in, the Lord throws us down the path, right?
That's right.
So I was working out at a CrossFit place, and like everyone has their workout shirts. And I was just like, man, I really would be cool if I had a shirt. And I already had a beard, I had a beard. And so I had a buddy of mine. I was like, look, I need a shirt to wear to work out and design me something. And so he literally designed that logo right there. And,
wow.
And we just, and it wasn't intentional to be a brand. It was just so I could have a workout shirt. And then the people around the gym were like, oh, can I have one? Can I have one? And then I remember putting it in my email signature. Just because I was like, whatever, just for laughs. And I started getting feedback from carriers, like underwriters, and we all know how they are. Underwriters, can be sometimes very dry.
Right. Agree.
They were like, this is awesome. It became memorable. And I was like, well, I mean, these little logo blocks that we had as our original logo, they meant nothing. This really, looking back, you can say this, and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but
no, you're not.
I always thought that we did things a little differently, and everyone thinks they do things differently. But like, I had a beard. I wasn't going to be the suit and tie guy. I was that person when I started in my career at Farm Bureau Insurance. You had to wear a tie, and so I was like, it sort of symbolized, let's be a little different. And if you're not okay with that, then we're not the agency for you. So, anyways, that's the brand there. And so we just sort of went all in. Changed the colors black. Which was kind of twofold there. Number one, I'm cheap because I started from scratch, right? And so you never print in color. Like, if you print in color and I see it, I'm like, why are you wasting that money, right?
That is great.
So I mean, like,
started black.
Yeah. So we went that route, and so when we went to that that next iteration of the site, it was black.
Ooh, that's funny.
So,
that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. And then and from there, it's funny. We and this as well as anyone. Most people look at a website as just a thing, and it's an expense, right? It's like, oh, I got to pay for that. And I can go right now and look at a lot of websites from agents, and it's the same website they've had for 20 years. And I can tell that it's been that way. And so as a consumer, if I go there and I look at that site, that's that's in the past agency. And
it's true.
And look, I'm not busting on anyone, but that's just what it is. So we started looking at, websites evolve, the look and feel evolve. And so, we just were, every few years, it seems like we're having to redesign the site now. This latest iteration was done, and I'll get geeky real quick on us. I noticed that we get a lot of traffic, but I noticed that I didn't like the speed. And so I started talking to the web designer, how can we speed this up? Well, we can compress this and this and this. And he's like, realistically, we probably just need to do X, Y, and Z. So I literally, and most agents will probably hate my guts for this, or not hate me, but I looked at it and was like, I need to have my own server. So I reached out to my web person. I don't want to be on a server shared by anyone because the speed matters that much. And I mean, where most people, I don't know, you tell me, Jason, what people pay $100 a month for hosting, something like that,
easily,
maybe less.
Easily, yeah.
I mean, dude, I'm close to $1,000 right now
a month in hosting because that speed means that much to you.
So the server we have literally could have 100 sites on it. So anyway, so we did that. That was one thing, and we started messing around with it. And then I looked and I was like, I didn't like the way the homepage felt. I didn't like how some of the pages felt. And that I can't put my finger on feelings, right? But it just didn't feel new and fresh. And so, man, we started going down that rabbit hole. And so you start with the homepage and it looks nice. And then it's like, well, what's the product page look like? And then over the years, we found out that we had a lot of weird internal linking. So like I use a service called Ahrefs to help with my SEO, like what should we be, searching
changing
for
and doing,
metrics and all that good stuff. And like my score was horrible on there. Like it was like my health score was like a 50. And I was like, well, I'm OCD on that and I can't have that. So like so you start going down the rabbit hole. And so a 2-month project is now, I think we're probably on month 6 now. And so we're having to go back in, reformat blogs, just rewrite everything.
Wow.
And it's a long way around of saying that, a website is work. But man, it's my number one lead gen.
And that makes sense.
So, I feel like, and this is just my personal feeling, there are people out there, and if you are an agency that has a website and you did it on your own, I say right now, reach out to, some of the people out there and Chris Langill, great job. Was it Forge Tree? They do a good job. All those things. Mine is done internally, and I write the content and I have someone that does the design. I think I win most of the time because mine's going to be different than most people's, but like it's a job. It is work.
It is.
I talked a lot right there. I don't know.
I love it. I love it because, it's like something that we've just like, oh yeah, I've got a website, right? And yeah, I redid it. If you haven't redone your website in the last 2-3 years, you're already behind the curve. Technology's changing, all these things, speed, all that. Google's totally changing how they're going to start using links and not use them and cookies. And I mean, there's so much that's changed just in the last 12 months. But one of the things that you said also is very important. And I think there's a lot to be said for this. The agents go for the cheap, websites. And I think that's it's just like, well, you shouldn't have to pay more than $400 or $500 for your website. I'm like, no, you should be paying more than that just per month for your website, right? There's agents out there that don't think that SEO actually matters. And it's really true. I think it's the web providers out there that don't understand SEO that want agents to believe that. We use, just as I say, we have a cost in this. I mean, so we don't spend $1,000 a month on the server, but on the whole process behind our website. And we use Truefla. So we've just been with them for the last 4 or 5 months, found some good stuff with them. But anyways, that's just our agency. Now let's talk on a couple other things. You talked about, I've been talking about this a lot on my other podcast, Agency Intelligence, talking about this. And I want to talk about how you're doing this. You talked about, unlimited time off. You talked about the different way that you hire the right people. You talked about, and one of the ways that this got brought up in the conversation, that I see it is you were trying to help a friend, bring on a VE, and it's just more than just bringing them on, right? It's the whole way, and it's everything about the culture. And that's why these things sometimes don't work. I want you to tell us more about that and your culture, and give us a little bit. You are in North Carolina. Tell us your exact town, and then tell us how many people are in your agency, and tell us about that.
Yeah. So right now I'm sitting in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So like right in the middle of the state. We have offices ranging from the beach all the way up to the mountains. I think we're 4 or 5 locations, which my location thing is weird. It's not like there's someone manning every office. So we won't dive into that, but, employee wise. So you had a couple of things that are unpacked, unlimited time off. Number one, it's most things in my agency, whether it's use of VEs, technology, unlimited time off, actually stem from me at some point in time realizing what I'm good and not at, what I'm good at and what I'm not good at, and the things that I hate. Right? I am a horrible boss. I am meaning not to the employees, meaning they can run all over me because I'm just like I just feel for people, right?
Right.
So I need someone to hire someone who's just the hammer, but that's just not who we are. But so I hated tracking time off, right? The bane of my existence. Like, I don't care what you do, get your work done.
Right.
Right. And as an agency owner, Jason, you know this, and the rest of the listeners know this. If it's not that we're out playing golf every day, it's actually that we're working 50 hours a day, right? How many hours can we pack into a day? It's crazy. And so when we would hire people, number one, I always hire probably way too slow. Again, starting from scratch, you have no money, zero money. So it's like you do everything until there's a little extra coin, and then you can hire someone.
That's right.
So I probably always hire too slow. But when you bring that person on, you really are looking for fit. I could care less if they have insurance experience or not. It's like, I need to know that this person is willing to get into a trench with me and fight.
That's right.
And I've been very fortunate over the years that I've only ever had to fire one person.
Okay.
So I mean, but yeah, so we hire the right person from a, just how they are as people. Like, are you a hard worker? Are you one of those who's, I'm going to get the job done? So when you hire those right people and you have the right culture, and culture has been a big thing of people talk about it a lot. I don't know how you craft culture. I just think it as the leader, you just sort of set the tone and hope that people jump on board. There's no magic in it for me.
I agree.
When you have the right people, then don't micromanage them. I'm not going to miss my kids' games. I'm not going to miss my daughter's recitals. I would never expect anyone else to have to choose work over family.
So well said, Jack. So well said.
So if I expect that from myself, then by all means, my employees need to have it. Now, employee count, it's not like I have a ton, right? It's not like I have 30 people that I'm having to manage. That might get to the point where you may or may not be able to do unlimited time off. But I have internally, I have 3 VEs, so that's that's one thing. Then I have 3 what I call my directors. They're kind of like my upper level people, even though it's not like there's levels. Director of client experience, director of operations, and marketing director. Those are my team. Then after that, we have some outside producers. I think we have 3 of those, and then 2 other internal people. So I don't know, was that get you to 8 or 10 staff? Something like that.
Yeah.
So the unlimited time off, honestly, when I tell people about that, they're like, there's no way. I can't trust the people. And I'm like, you got the wrong people.
Right. So let's talk about that. I love this because there's no right or wrong answer to this, just like there's no wrong or right. Here's some of the things that I have found to be true. I think I have been successful, and I'm hearing it from you, because it's something that we kind of started with. We started that way. So we just saw it. And I have the same thing with you. I never actually, until my probably, 4th or 5th employee, actually thought how much time does somebody get off? My assumption was just like you, if I would be wanting to get off for it because it's kid related or family related or whatever, I would expect you to do that as well. Right. And I think people fail to, there's a big conversation going on in one of the Facebook groups right now about this. And a lot of people said, I used to do that, but as I've grown, I found that it just doesn't work. It only takes one person. Well, I can hit a lot on that. First of all, people that are buying agencies, I could see that be very tough. Bringing 10 new people into this where they had time off and now they're coming into 10 people with you, Jack, and they don't. I mean, that could be a very, very tough thing to manage. So I make no bones about that. But I also think that people get scared when there's just that one, right? So I have 13 employees. So am I supposed to sacrifice their 13, their time off and their needs of needing to be with their family for the fact that there was one or there could be one? Right. And that's cool. Whichever way an agency owner wants to think. My brain doesn't think that way. My brain is like, no, we're going to take the chance, because I think if we're putting our best foot forward and we're hiring the right people and we're building the right culture, I think here's what I want to ask you. Maybe I'm wrong here. I feel as if one of the things that gets lost in this is that, well, somebody could take advantage of it. You're not the one who's in control of that when you have unlimited time off. It's the team. They're letting the team down. And I think when they all understand that, hey, we're able to take this time off as we want because we're all helping each other out and we're all making sure each other are getting the things done. I think that person is not going to all of a sudden take 5 to 6 weeks off, because they would know that they're hurting the team. And it's just like it's like a tribal instinct thing that we have, that we want to be communal with people. Am I wrong or right? Have you given that some thought, Jack?
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on there, man. And from the top down, no right or wrong, no judgment.
Yeah.
But like, even our compensation plan in our agency is built around team. So I could care less if Susie sells it or Joe sells it. Could care less, as long as it's there. Now, again, outside producers are a little bit different.
Understand.
They're the hunters, but like the internal, they're all working together. So it is funny. Like right now, we have my ops director is on his vacation. He goes to the beach every year with his family for a week. And so like we're feeling it this week. And I always look at it as, this is a great way for me to figure out what he's been band-aiding so that we can fix processes.
That's true.
But you're exactly right. It's like the next person just steps up, and it's awesome because we have a newer team member. She's only been with us about 18 months. Her role is just personal line sales, right? That's all she does. But because we're down a person, she was supposed to have a networking event today, and she said, do I need to go on that? Like, do I need to stay and help man the phones? And I was like, no, we got,
but still,
it's that feel. It's like, how can I help? And when you have the right people, that will happen. You're going to have issues with any family. You'll have issues, and the same thing with your team at work.
True.
There's going to be some griping and complaining. Oh, with this person, I honestly, outside of our biggest thing is, we use Agency Zoom as a CRM. So they have a little thing in there called Agency HR where people put in for time off, blah, blah, blah. Again, there's no days off, but it's just letting the person know they're gone today.
Correct.
Our biggest issue is just tell me a week before so I can plan. And like getting in that habit, that's been like the biggest thing. And hey, let's try not to have 3 people off on the same day.
Correct. Yep. We always have that. So we always, everybody on Monday knows who's going to be off that week. And then that person is responsible for reminding everybody 24 hours before, and usually it's just their department and they're checking each other's tasks. That's the other thing too. If you're not running out of a CRM or an AMS where you're able to run tracks to a task, be able to see what was done. Yes, a lot of this can be very, very tough to do. There's no doubt about it. But once again, it's not like, I want to say this to the Rough Notes listeners. It's not like me or Jack or other people have like some magic potion. I think it's just something we've just always kind of done, and we've kind of and it's just kind of morphed to what it is. To before one day I was like, wow, I legally am supposed to have like a vacation policy here. Like I've got to. And so then it was all about getting the team on board and understanding, hey, we're going to have this, but hey, you have the right to take this much time. But I promise you, you can either adhere to that 2 weeks or you can do my policy, and you're probably going to get a lot more than 2 weeks because that's all the government gives you. Right. I mean, that's just the way it is, but there are things.
And so
go ahead.
let me make this one point.
Come on, Jack.
So you know,
come on.
One thing that if you're an agency owner that's thinking about this, what you need to make sure of, and I've got one person that's this way, you need to make sure that they take vacation. Because I've got one person who just is like, I don't need to take it. I'm not going to. And like at some point in time, you've got to step in and go,
you do.
I need you to take a day off.
Yep.
for your mental health. And also for me, I need to know what you're band-aiding so that we can fix it. So anyways,
I love that band-aiding thing. We could talk about that for a long time. Agency owners, please listen to that. That is one of the beauties of seeing when somebody's gone. You will see, so-and-so hasn't called me back in 3 weeks. Oh, really? Oh my gosh, and we all have those. And sometimes you just drop in the ball because we just do it. But if it's a problem, it's a problem. I'm with you. And you have no way to figure that out sometimes. Boy, we have really, really went down some major rabbit holes here. Yeah. I want to end this with this. We'll talk about the thing that makes us the most money. Sales comes in, but how do we keep it in is the big key, right? And so you said something in here that I want to just stop and talk about for a minute. My personal opinion is that retention starts with the way you sell. Why don't you tell me about that? Give us your mindset of why you would say that.
Yeah, so I won't go into the entire sales process. It's probably we've talked about it probably before. I truly believe that if you sell the old school way of trying to close someone, which we can debate that, no one gets closed anymore. Like someone just buys. We aggressively offer stuff, right? So no one. You're not closing anyone.
That's right, aggressively.
But if you do your job on the sell up front. So when we do a personalized proposal for someone, we do platinum, gold, silver, bronze. We give them some options. Now, look, in this weird market, it might be 4 options from the same carrier. It just, whatever.
Gotcha.
But we started a number of years ago doing that where we had a platinum, and that was always going to, and I'm talking personalized, it's going to include an umbrella. And if I know you have an umbrella, then it might have a $5 million umbrella. And the way we sold it was we actually went through, spent a little time on each coverage, maybe a 10 to 12 minute video proposal that just sort of talked about it. We started selling more umbrellas because people, let's think about this realistically. Most people have their auto liability limits because maybe their dad had it that way. Right. No one knows how they ever got to it. That's never been explained.
It's true.
So
it's very true, Jack.
When we focus on the education component of insurance, and that's how we sell, then the person's not going to shop you because it went up $25. Mm-hmm. So your retention is going to go up. You're going to have more policies per customer because you've taken the time to educate them on why they need an umbrella or why they need, sewer drain back or whatever the thing is of the day. Mm-hmm. You've educated them, so it's not a price component because I can guarantee you this, and I think you've said this a number of times. We are the hardest industry. We are the hardest distribution channel to do business with. Mm-hmm. We're not going to be faster than the online Geicos or Progressives or whatever. We might not be the cheapest. So if you buy in and go, how do I become relevant 3, 4, 10, whatever years from now, you've got to change. You got to go to a different ball field. Get off of their playing field, go to your own, and then focus in on that. We're going to educate you. We're going to sell higher limits, and we're going to tell you the why. So then your retention all of a sudden isn't price dependent. And we're in a hard market right now. So when someone's listening to this 20 years from now, they're going to, they don't know what a hard market is because it's never existed again, right? It's tough right now.
It is.
And but our retention has leaked up, honestly, over the last, year or so. Just because I think the way we sell people, it's not about price. Mm-hmm. So if you remove that from the equation up front, price is a component, yes. Mm-hmm. But if you do a good job of why they need that coverage, and then there's other things you've got to do. You've got to make sure you service and blah, 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 blah. So, service is just, that's bare bones right now, right? That's the bare minimum. Mm-hmm. It's, what is it? What'd you say? Didn't you write a book one time?
Yeah. Customer service is just foreplay. It's the modern customer experience that will separate you. One of the things, here's what I hear from you. Your team does not sell insurance. You help people purchase it, right?
Yes.
The big difference, right? You're saying, hey, let me help you. Here's some options. Here's the information. Now, got any questions? Because I can help you zero in on what you need, right? You're helping them purchase it rather than sell. We try to say that to, I don't say that enough to my team, but I always say that to my new people, my new producers, because I want them to understand that we're not here to sell, and we hate that closing thing too. I will tell you, in our office, we probably 3 to 4 times a year watch, oh my gosh, Jason, ABC Always Be Closing.
Oh, Glengarry Glen
Yes,
Ross?
Glenn Larson. Dude, thank God. I can't believe I forgot that. Dude, we watch that like 2 to 3 times a year easily. And we'll watch it all on the thing. I love the fact that Teams and some of these now allow it to where you can play a video and it goes to all, everybody can hear it, right? That's just great stuff because then you can enjoy things as a team. And we watch that. I don't believe in the close, but I absolutely love the fact to let my team understand that, like, this is what it was like back then, right? It was like, gotta have brass balls, right? I mean,
yeah. And look, it's tough. And I think when most agency owners and salespeople think that they are God's gift to sales, and they think that they are out there doing something. And look, the thing we do is hard. But when you, as an agency owner, step back and look at it like a business, I don't want to have a person that is awesome at closing because I can't make that a repeatable process.
That's right.
But if I do a great job of identifying who our clients are and then honing in on that and being very true to that, we have agency standards. We're not going to go below X, Y, or Z coverage limits and let them own that. Then I don't need a salesperson. I need someone that can sit here, be empathetic, be sympathetic, be a hard worker, and just help. People want to help. So let me put you in a position to help someone, and then the results will speak for themselves.
So well said. So well said. I love what you said. If someone's a great closer, a good closer, great, but I can't make that a repeatable process. Wow. There's so much to be said right there for if you're a Rough Notes listener, listen to that. What would you like to say as we wrap up here? Anything, Jack?
Again, honored and humbled to even be in the conversation. I've been very fortunate in my career to know people like you, know people like Hanley and Kerry Wallace and all the people, right?
Good people.
But I tell you what, none of us, you, me, anyone, got to where we are without a strong support system. My wife and my kids have sacrificed more than anyone so that my other kid, which is ALLCHOICE Insurance, can be what it is today. So, I mean, the time, and I don't miss things, but man, on vacation, I'm on the phone, right? This year we went on vacation. I didn't take a computer. That's the first time in 20 years.
There you go, baby. There you go.
So family, thank you to my wife, Melinda, my kids, my dad, my strong team, and people like you, man, for pushing the envelope. There was times where before podcasts were a thing, I was thinking I thought I was crazy most of the time. And then I hear you and Hanley gabbing one night as I was driving to the lake to get on the pontoon boat, right, which I just came back from. And I was like, man, I'm not alone here.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's the big shift in our industry now. If you're an agency owner right now, this is the best time to be it because there's people who will happily share all the secret sauce. And I'm using air quotes here, secret sauce. Just ask. We're all here for you. So yeah, that's it, man. Thank you to my wife. Thank you to my kids. Couldn't do it without you.
Jack, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And congratulations to you for real. Really. So Rough Notes listeners, as I wrap up here, I want to throw a couple things out there. I think you got to see that there was different, right? Jack used that term a lot when he's talking about ALLCHOICE, when he's talking about himself, when he's talking about the way that he builds his culture, the way that he does his marketing. You can kind of see that everything that he does is different. In our agency, we call those tuxedo moments. Back in the day, I used to sell windows back when I was like 19, 20 years old. And I would go to these home shows all the time. And when I would go to these home shows, there would be a ton of other people that would be selling their windows. And I would get these leads and I'd go back and I'd call them the next day and I'd say, hey, I'm here to talk to you. You put in a lead in my box and want to talk to you about some windows. And they'd say, well, which one were you? And I realized that they had put names, because I was 19 and naive, in every one of those boxes. And so I thought to myself, how am I going to get around this? So no joke. One of my first marketing classic things that I didn't even realize I was doing, I was just using common sense. I needed to feed a kid that I was getting ready to start having at the age of 19. I went and rented a tuxedo. And the next home show that I went to, I walked around in this tuxedo, and as people would come up and talk to me about my windows, I would then talk to them and they would make a remark about me and my tuxedo. I then would go home and I would call those leads, and I sold so many windows. I became the number one salesperson out of the St. Louis region. And that got me really thinking like, wow, like if I can be different, it doesn't mean that you have to, your different can be whatever your different is. Jack's is a beard that sticks off of his chin 13 inches. Okay. But it doesn't really matter. It's what is your difference, right? Where are you being different? Look at Rough Notes magazine. What other magazine do we know? I don't even know of any other industry that they put these people on the best of the best. Why do they do it? So that we can learn, so that we can get better. Like Jack said, everybody got bet where they are because of somebody else helping them. And once again, Rough Notes, you knocked it out of the park. This has been Jason Cass here with Front Cover, a Rough Notes magazine podcast. And this has been Jack Wingate with All Choice Insurance, who just knocked it out of the park for the month of July. See you later, Rough Notes listeners.